Yo, yo, what is up, everybody? OCD Mikey here for another edition of The Mikey Show. It is The Mikey Show on, what is today, the 8th? June 8th, 2025. And good to see everybody back here. I'm going to take the glasses off so they don't reflect. Good to see everybody back here after I missed the last live stream. I apologize. I was out seeing a show, and then the next day came, and the next day I went to a dealer show, a demo with DCS and Wilson Audio and Transparent Cables and D'Agostino amplifiers. And I'm going to wait till people chalk up in the queue here, and then I'll tell you guys more about that whole deal. So that was cool. I went to my local dealer here, Scott from Evolution Home Theater, one of the good guys. And as you may or may not know, you will find two different types of folks in the audio industry. Some of them are good ones, and some of them are not good ones. And Scott at Evolution Home Theater is one of the good ones. And he had a great show, or a great event. It was catered by a high-end restaurant. So we had, literally, it was not cheap-ass food. This was extremely high-grade food. It was delicious. There was what exact? There was a ravioli that was, I don't even know what was inside, but it had an amazing mushroom cream, like truffle sauce that was phenomenal. They had, of course, wine, beer, whiskey, whatever you wanted. I didn't drink anything, of course. They had a baked salmon that was really good. They had a vegetable that was like roasted Brussels sprouts and roasted vegetables that was phenomenal. There was chicken breasts that were very good, baked chicken breast. It was just trust me, I'm a food weirdo, and Scott does it right. He doesn't skimp out on the food. It was really good. And we had the president of D'Agostino there. We had who else did we have? We had, well, the president and the national sales guy from D'Agostino. We had Bill Pugh from, and then his two guys from Wilson. One dude from DCS, Efran from DCS, and then somebody repping Transparent Cables as well. And it was a great time. I was there from 6 o'clock till 10 o'clock. 4 hours went like snap. It was unbelievable. I had some great conversations with McKeegan, Bill McKeegan, with Bill Pugh, and really interesting conversations. Yeah, so more to be revealed. But Scott is definitely one of the good guys, so I like to go there when I can. And yeah, and that is that. I will expand maybe on that a little bit more as the show develops. Hey, Tribe, hey, Mikey, seems like it's been a while. Glad we're all here. Yeah, buddy. Good to see you, Tommy. Tom is getting to us from our Portland, Oregon chapter, which we have we've got a nice holdout in Portland. We're adding Seattle very shortly. We're going to have our first Seattle location. I just sent out 2 more pairs of 270s this week. And they went to, I think you guys, if you saw the short, one went to De Pere, Wisconsin. One went to, where was the other one? Wisconsin. The other one went to South Carolina. Yeah, South Carolina. So even if you're in little locations, typically what happens is the dealers are in the big cities, in the big popular areas. You won't find dealers in the more rural areas where we are setting up in both big cities as well as in more of the rural areas around the United States. And before you can shake two sticks, we'll have 100 locations throughout the U.S. We're adding them every single week. And you guys will be able to, no matter where you are, you'll be able to go something within a 100-mile radius and go see a system that has Fisher and Fisher's, Jeff Rowland, Nat Audio, Playback Designs, Audio Analog, all the brands that I like to bring in. And keep in mind, I hand choose the brands for you guys. I don't grab stuff that just everybody has or anybody can get a hold of. I either grab the things like, for instance, Chef Roland is I'm not exclusive with it, but Jeff Roland does not give, like, let's take I won't use any locations to give because I'll end up giving people away. But there's a certain state, let's say in the Southeast, that there's no Jeff Rowland dealers because he doesn't see any of them as fitting enough to represent the product. So he'd rather not have a dealer there than have a jackass represent the brand. When in other situations, the manufacturers or the distributors may be a little more desperate, and they just want to place product, so they don't give a shit what kind of dickheads running the dealership. They'll put their brand in there just so they can say, yeah, we've got a location in that area. But then there's other dealers or other manufacturers that maybe, or other distributors that maybe aren't as ready to give away the brand to just anybody just because they have a location. Because then all you have to do is just have money and have a brick and mortar, and then any dickhead could be a dealer, right? But some manufacturers have a little more what's the word I'm looking for? They have a little more they don't just pick anyone, right? They're going to only put people that know what they're doing, that are great with customer service, that don't that aren't discounts, that kind of stuff. Because otherwise any schmuck could just open a brick and mortar and get product. And I've seen it, and I've even told you guys about it. So we won't go too much on that. But yeah, good to see you, Tommy. Andrew Swift, here is our chapter from Michigan, Grand Rapids, Michigan. Andrew and I are going to be doing some track time on some race bikes soon. For anybody that isn't aware, Andrew is a sport bike track time instructor. So we have a professional motorcycle track day instructor in our tribe. And so anybody that likes to ride race bikes, if you haven't done a track day, you absolutely should, because you probably don't know your bike that well unless you've gotten it onto a track. And when you get it on the track, you understand what its capabilities, and you realize, I haven't even been riding this thing until right now. Now we're riding, and it's fun. It's a blast. So I'll be headed up there. I'll be headed up end of next month, end of July. I'll be headed up to do some track time with Andrew in Michigan. And so if anybody wants to join, I guess I'm inviting him right now. I don't know if I can, but holler. And we will also do bike touring. Andrew also has a Triumph Tiger, and does some touring. I've got a Ducati Multistrada. I've got 2 Harleys and some other shit. So we will put together some tribe rides. I went riding with Isaac today, who's one of our Atlanta chapters. He's got Sound Labs and the Big Nat tubes, and he's got a Moto Guzzi California. And I rode my Road King, and we went for half the day today. It was a beautiful day. So it was a lot of fun. Gray Ant, what's up? Welcome to the discussion. Hey, Mikey and Tribe, what's up, Larry? How are you, man? Larry's got a wicked car. Philo. So Nat measures their products in 1 kilohertz. I guess that's the standard way. It is the standard way. Hello, Mikey. Hello, tribe. Did you make it to the LA show this weekend? No, I didn't go. There's nothing for me at the shows. There's nothing for me at the shows. I'm not going to learn anything new. I'm not going to see anything new. Um, I would go overseas to the shows, but the ones in the United States, they're regurgitated the same thing at every show. Just the only difference is you get different dealers and different manufacturers that live in that state that get the big rooms. So the local guys get the big rooms pretty much, and then some of the big manufacturers get the big rooms regardless where they are. But you just see it's the same people, but different people have the big rooms essentially. And so if I had more to do in California than just see the show, I would have gone to the show. But it's just same stuff. And I don't really need to go. If I was showing, I would. You'll probably see Fisher and Fisher more with AGD. At least we'll be at Capital Audio Fest. And if not AGD, then with somebody else at the other shows. But you'll probably start to see Fisher and Fisher at every show. We're just doing so it's such a good brand. It needs to be shown at every show. What's good, Jasper? Good to see you, man. Philo, many tube audiophiles say the tube single-ended amps don't do well on big orchestral arrangements. How are Nats dealing with that? Because they're built way farther and more intense than a normal single-ended amp. Okay, so a tube single-ended amp, we're talking about 2A3, what is that? 3 watts, 4 watts. We're talking a 300B, 8 watts. We're talking an 845, if you're lucky, 25, 35 watts. But we're not talking Nat audio, which is 80 watts, 160 watts, the ones that I have, with massive iron, massive heavy transformers, high bandwidth transformers. So Nat audio will play back the most realistic orchestral arrangement you've ever heard in your life will be at my system here. I will guarantee you that. You come and listen, you're going to be absolutely gobsmacked and startled at how lifelike orchestra sounds. Timpani is incredible. It's unbelievable. And just super complicated, complex movements that are super huge. It's super easy for the Nat audio to do it. Extremely easy. Seeding a network of folks across the country with stuff you endorse is a great strategy. Users then meet other users when they are considering a purchase. That's it. That's the tribe. And, eventually you'll have this all laid out. I've talked about it a lot. You'll have it all laid out in form where you can read it. And there will be, there's much more going on behind the scenes. And I'm only talking about the places that we're opening. I'm going to Minneapolis next week to start setting up our Minneapolis contingent. So we'll have Minneapolis covered too. We're it seems like the Midwest is where we're getting a good foothold, a good response. So anybody that's watching that's in Minneapolis, wait, I know somebody on Lake Calhoun. I gotta see. Damn, and okay, we ought to make you our freaking first one. You've got a condo in on Lake Calhoun, and we ought to put the first system there in Minneapolis. That's great representation right there on the lake. So holler at a brother. I'm trying to remember how I saved you in. Like I'm trying to remember what your name is. I've got you on my phone anyways. I got you under Minneapolis. And that will be one of our other locations. I've got, and you know what? There's somebody else across the lake. I have to talk to him too when I'm up there. But we've got things up our sleeve. We're slowly and surely going to be in every city. the biggest dealer network across the US. Greetings, peeps. What's up? Stereo. Philo, is the best silver cable always better than the best copper ones? Depends on your system. Silver is very revealing. The best silver is very smooth. Shitty silver is harsh, but the finest, most refined silver is very smooth. And yes, the best silver cable is always better than the best copper one for my systems that are very right down the middle, neutral. If your system, if let's say you have full cal speakers and you have, MSB DAC and you have, Boulder amps or something like that, which are all three of those things are very forward, then I definitely wouldn't put silver in there because it's just going to make it more exasperating. It's just going to be a little too much, too hot. I've got a Triumph Rocket touring. That sounds like fun. The touring, not track racing. Yeah, do they even make a track racing rocket? Those things are heavy, man. He's talking about like a Triumph with a V6 engine in it. It's a giant muscle bike. It's a Jay Leno bike. Watch out for the turkey in the toilet. What the hell does that mean? Sounds funny. I would ask, is the best copper wire better than the worst silver? Yes, it is. The best copper wire is absolutely better than the worst silver. Hey, gents, what's up, Keenus? Nice to see you, man. Was just looking at a Triumph 900 Scrambler. Yeah, man. Triumphs are great bikes. I had two of them. I had Trophy 1200 touring, and then I had a Sprint ST 1050. I did some mods on that one, man. I put a GSXR front end with inverted forks and Takiko. What are those? Not Takiko. The damn brakes are called. They're the Japanese, not Nissan, but the high end Japanese brakes. 6 pistons. That was a screamer. And then I was riding that thing like a sport bike. I'm like, shit, why don't I get a sport bike? Like, this thing is great, but I'm riding it so hard, I might as well just get a Aprilia RSVR 1000 factory race replica. So that's what I bought. Then I sold that Triumph 1050. It would be kind of hard to compete with something where every sound has a cabinet designed exactly for it specifically. I mean, I can any speaker accurately recreate an orchestra. Okay. Heard the AGD room yesterday and it was good. Told him Max and I represented the tribe. There you go, buddy. Good. Representing, man. Turkey in the toilet. Yeah, what does that mean? I still don't know the euphemism. Hey, Mikey. Hey, tribe. Really enjoyed the guest Alberto last week. Yes, man. Yeah, he's good stuff. Tell us more on your project that had an uninterrupted wire from amp to voice coil. It's a non-conductive clamp that clamps conductors, flat foil conductors together. That should be all you need to know to envision everything. I'm the foil guy. So you take foils and you press them together because they're both flat, right? And you make a clamp that is non-conductive, that is in the body of a connector, and you simply clamp foils together throughout the whole thing. And I have parts for the speaker driver all the frickin' way through every interface on the back of every piece of gear, all the way to a PC board, which I have another connector for a PC board that will connect it to a PCB. Or connect bare foils together that just holds two foils together, like if you want to do wire point to point. And another one that will clamp a foil to a round leg of like a capacitor. So a specified clamp that you could put a capacitor leg into, fit it into the clamp, and then put the foil in there and then clamp it down and hold it together. It's just cuckoo-fied. It's like OCD cuckoo level design because of trying to get to the purest possible connection way. No solder, no similar metals. Or I'm sorry, no dissimilar metals. Unless except for the case where you have to strap it to a leg of a capacitor or resistor, then you're going to tinned copper instead of pure silver. AGD Potpourri with the Bach just won Best of Show in California this weekend. Okay. By who? Because that will mean everything, won't it? Starts with a B. You got me. Don't know. My Kimber 12 TC speaker cables have to run an inch or two next to a very hot amp chassis. Does the heat from an amp affect the cable sound in any way, or is nearby heat generally not a factor on cables? Okay. So if you're nearby heat, you might be nearby electromagnetic radiation. Okay. So you might be near EMF. If it's close enough to be hot, it might be close enough to be magnetic. So you'd want to know that. The heat itself, no big deal. Unless it's too hot and it's so hot it's going to melt like a PVC jacket. But my stuff uses Teflon, so there's no way you're melting that jacket. So heat won't bother it. That I know of. But magnetism may. If you have it laying on carpet, static electricity could bother it. So that you have to, consider that too. Masher, USB cable recommendation, and is 2 meter length okay, or is shorter better? Oh, there is a, theory out there that I think it's 2.5 meter. Let's ask Andrew Swift. You looked it up. We were talking about this the other day. What is the length for USB? And we make one. I make a USB cable that is very good. So just get in touch if you want one. I think we sell them for $500 a meter, $800 for a 2 meter, something like that. I'll have to double check. They have the metal ends and all that kind of stuff. Very high end very high end build. Rashawn, what's up? Hey buddy, I got that MPD-8 coming for you. What's your thoughts on Indian motorcycles, Bobber? Indians are an interesting bike, and I like Indian, like their styling, and they're cool. And actually, Indians for the most part have more power than the Harleys. Like the equal kind of bikes, the touring bikes definitely make greater power. Now, my Harley's been worked on. It's got a stage 2, blah, blah, blah. So my Harley's faster, or maybe equivalent to an Indian Challenger or whatever they are. I have the Road King, though, so I don't have a big, heavy fairing. But Indians, great stuff, man. They're cool. I like them. It's just like I like Moto Guzzi. I haven't found the one that does it for me yet to the point where I'm going to buy one. But an Indian bobber is totally stylish and cool. I like them. What a pity it seems that there's actual no Fisher and Fisher distributor anymore in the Netherlands. Time for Tribe to grow overseas. Well, how about we make you the chapter head in Netherlands? Where are you again? I think you told me and I can't remember. We were in Groningen, Zwolle, and Amsterdam for a little bit. But I like Zwolle a lot. Or maybe it was Groningen, the one that's up higher. I think it's Zwolle. Super cool town. Like I love the shit out of that. I love those little European towns that are just, they got so much damn character, man. Oh, it's just like, I want to do motorcycle touring there. Like I would love to come to Netherlands and do motorcycle tour there. That would be epic. So yeah, let's go the tribe in Marcella. Let's do it. We'll make you the honorary chapter. We'll get you some Fisher and Fishers and let you start earning some commissions. Hey, even very low strong field around, even very low currents have a pretty strong field around the wires that can be affected. Sure, yes, true. I mean, that's why static electricity and carpet can mess with it. Any experience or thoughts on Magico subs? None whatsoever. You don't need subs, Tom. Yeah, if you don't need subs, And if you think that you do, your speakers are not set up correctly, because your speakers have shit tons of bass. And if you're even thinking of subs, your speakers are not set up correctly, brother. And then, but I will be out there sooner or later, and I can set up for you. I just get USB cables from Blue Jean Cables. Sure, if you want super basic cables, nothing wrong with Blue Jean. Blue Jean, what's the other one? Moro. There's a handful of those real entry level guys that it's just like, hey, it's better than a cheap piece of shit, but it's not the best in the marketplace, but it's not bad. They're a couple $100, no big deal. Seems pricey, and you have to modify settings via an app. Yeah, and in your situation, you don't need them. Thanks, you bet, Masher. In the south near Eindhoven. Okay. I haven't been down there. It sounds like it. I'd probably love it. I was in Zwolle, 2 years ago. Yep. And Groningen too. And we went to Orangewood, if I'm saying it right. I don't know. I mean, Dutch is a real damn hard thing for me to pronounce. Orangewood? Maybe I'm saying that right. It's a forest, and that shit was badass, dude. Like the forest, I don't know what it is about the forest over there, man, but it was like enchanted forest level. The birds, the songs the birds were doing, and it's definitely not like forest over here. It was heavy. It was more like little trolls were going to pop out and have tea, on the toadstool. It was badass. I was like, dude, I'm tripping, and I'm not even tripping, and I'm tripping at this shit. Like, this is really cool in here. I wanted to hang out. Is there a tribe member in Toronto? I don't think so yet. Maybe it ought to be you, Rob. Should we make you the honorary tribe chapter? Happy to do it. Mark and Myrtle, what should we prioritize? Improvement of standard speaker cables costing less than 200, or improve power cord in the amp? Improve the power cord. Is there an optimal speaker cable length from monos to Maggies due to impedance factors, or is shorter always better? Shorter is always better in every situation. Yo, tribe, a scorcher, Seattle, checking in. Nice, buddy. Rev's going to have his 470s soon, and then an MPD8, and he's going to be killing it, man. He's fired up. Rev's real fired up. He's going to be he's going to be inner circle tribe in terms of demonstrating and doing all that jazz. What is the realistic probability of Andreas making a 4K streamer to rival Niagara? 0. Why would he do it? He'll just tell you, go buy the Niagara. Doesn't matter to him. He'll sell them. There would be no reason. The Niagara is a playback design streamer. So there's no need for him to make a playback designs 4K streamer, because it already exists with a Niagara name on it. So there's no reason to make it. It's already out in the market. Would make no sense. It would just be more of a pain in the ass for him. Can you recommend power cable that would act as a filter? My AC grid could be dirty, as I am going to put 2 separate outlets for my rig. Well, I mean, I would use like a Puritan audio line filter, and then that's probably the best in terms of filtering. Where are you? Are you in the United States? Are you in Greece? The cables for these type of systems cost more than most people spend on their entire home entertainment center. Yeah, many times they really do. They really do. But not from Blue Jeans cable, like the other guy said. That stuff's inexpensive, and it does the job, and it does it well. It's basic upgrade. Like, it's better than the shit that the stuff comes with, unless it's AGD. Then it comes with audio level stuff. But everything else, you could upgrade, and even just blue jeans is good, and those are hundreds of dollars. My stuff is hundreds. You could get my power cables that are freaking awesome that are $500 for a 5 foot, and they're really good. Sprint ST 1050 are cool bikes. An old coworker of mine had one, and I almost bought it from him. Yeah, man, I loved mine, dude. I did exhaust, and then I did that front suspension change out. I changed the triples, and I put a GSXR, a late model GSXR front end on it, and I had some spacers to fit the Triumph wheel on it, and that thing flogged, bro. I could flog it, but I was like, I can do better, so I bought an Aprilia. But the Sprint 1050 was, I like the sound of that triple, man. There's something so cool about the sound of a triple, Thanks for sharing your speaker setup video. You bet. Not a problem. Wasn't there one guy years ago who claimed that the best length of a speaker wire was 28 feet? Did you ever hear about his theory? No. I probably would have blown it off, Hey, Shane, what's up, man? Welcome. A PC power backup is designed to give you clean power. It helped my system tremendously. You're talking about like a one of those, what do they call those things? UPS, uninterruptible power supply. You can try that. I'm in Europe. I have about 6.6 foot speaker cables. Could that be too short, or that's okay? As far as I know, there's not a problem with or any concern with length of power cords. Some people might say longer, you get better bass because it acts more like capacitive if you have a heavy gauge. But typically the ones where the lengths speaker are important is the I'm sorry, you did say speaker cables. I'm thinking power cord. It said speaker cable right there, but somehow in my mind I have power cord. Could that be too short, or that's okay? No. There is no too short. In fact, zero speaker cable is the best. If you could hook your speaker up right to the binding post of the amp, that would be the best. No speaker cable. So the shortest thing, 2 inches, is the best. If you could take your amplifier and back it up right to the back of your speaker and put it on a little, I used to do this shit. This is how crazy I was. I would lift it up so the height of the binding post matched the amp to the speaker, and I'd do a little ass jumper right from the back of the amp. I'd have the amp facing backwards behind the speaker and do a little teeny jumper speaker cable to that's the best, because there's no electrical weirdness. The longer the speaker cable it starts to mess up your impedance, and it causes non-linearities. I mean, I can't get too into it. I don't wish to, but it's better. Shorter is better all the time. Good evening, David. Welcome. Nice shirt, mate. Love the colors. You want to see something really badass, bro? Let's see if I can. Let's see. Let me turn this way. Look at the pants. The pants even match. I got the pants and the shirt, and then I was wearing the red sneakers, which matched the red line in the shirt. That's how I felt today. I felt pretty colorful. So thanks, brother. Let's design something with no speaker cable. I did it already, bro. I already went down that cuckoo trail where I had amps that would just go right to the back of the speakers. There's so many little things. I mean, just the patent that I have is for connecting things without solder and without dissimilar metals. I mean, for somebody that went and figured that out, just tells you how cuckoo I am. Yes, I have 2 monos and lifted them up to the speaker binding post. There you go. So he's got the same sickness that I do. What quality of audio playback would likely improve with power cord upgrade? Once you get into products that are made in small numbers, so I'm going to insert your product, insert your brand in there. If they're made in small numbers, they're probably high enough grade. If they're made in mass produced numbers, you probably won't hear a difference. Like what he's asking is, If I put a power cord on my Denon receiver, will I hear it? Probably not. You have to get into some better hi-fi. Oh God, it's just about get time. I know, right? Shane was getting excited. Kind of blue. Yes, exactly. That is exactly it. Any component ideally placed away from others, DAC or amp or transport. Typically your amplifier and its big ass transformer is going to have a like magnetism that has a field around it. So that is going to be the main culprit, and typically you don't want that near your sensitive stuff like your preamp or your DAC. But really, it kind of only comes into play if they are not well grounded or they have cheap, thin chassis. But once you get into the higher level shit, like Jeff Rowland or Playback Designs, their chassis are very thick, so they can shield sometimes. And some of the products, their chassis are grounded, so any current that gets into the chassis gets bled off. So typically you don't want to stack your stuff. You really don't want anything if you can help it. Now, again, we're splitting hairs here. It's not life or death, right? But you don't want to put your preamp right on top of your amp. It's not the best idea. It's going to be sitting in that amp's magnetic field. Now, granted, if that amplifier has a thick enough steel chassis, the magnetism will stay in the steel and it won't go further than that or go just a couple inches. But typically you don't want to put anything on top of your amp ever. It's just not a good idea. It's hot and it radiates, EMF. Inside, the DAC. Oh man, we could get, dude. I found absorptive materials used in microwave communications that are, and I even sell them. I don't even have them because these things are little kits that I used to sell for like $50, $100. And it's not even worth my time anymore to sell things that are $100. I hate to say that. I don't mean to be a dick, but I only have so much bandwidth and it's just better used selling $20,000 DACs, $10,000 speakers, $2,000 DACs or whatever, than making $100 kits that I actually have to hand cut myself and put into little baggies and individually label them and all this shit. But the bottom line is I have material that you can put inside the DAC to absorb stray waves so that if RF gets inside there, it absorbs it. If the DAC or the streamer is emitting high frequency, it will absorb it and take it out of the chassis. And I used to go so far as I've got pictures of me with magnifying, those like jewelers things that are magnifier glasses and they got flashlights on them and a tweezer. And I'm cutting little teeny weeny grains of rice, even smaller sizes. And with the tweezer, setting them on chips in my DAC one at a time, setting a little thing on a like the DAC has the lid open and I'm setting it on a chip, going back to my seat, listening, going back, taking it off the chip, listening, going back, putting it back on the chip. The days of me doing that are over with. That was when I was in deep squirrel mode during COVID. And and it's crazy. You put those little things on some chips and some of them it works and some of it doesn't. And I actually had a full plan where I found a streamer. It was either a streamer or a DAC, I can't remember. And I had written out the whole plan, put a little bit on this chip here, and I had the number of the chip and the location, put this one a little bit here, and I sold a little mod kit. And you could do it, and people contact me back like, "Oh my God, dude, I can't believe it! Like, totally improved it." It's like, yeah, you can improve stuff, but in the end, it's like just don't drive yourself crazy. Just save a few more bucks, a few more quid, and buy a higher up, man. And then you don't have to worry about any of that kind of crap. You just, if anything produces heat, it's best to separate for better dispersion. Yes, definitely. I found no wireless computers anywhere near amps or preamps. They really add noise for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely true. That's another thing. Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out. No transmitting device anywhere near your sensitive equipment. I remember back in the day, you could hear the cell phone when it was ready to ring. you'd hear on your speakers, and all of a sudden the phone would ring. You'd hear the signal come in, and you could really hear it if you set your cell phone on top. This was probably 3G, like the early shit. It was like a heavy signal, whatever it was. It wasn't the real wicked fine wavelength, it was the bigger wavelength, and you could fully hear it. So yeah, I mean, and there's some people that say don't even put your cell phone in the listening room. They'll keep the cell phone out of the listening room. Those are the same people that won't sleep with a cell phone on their nightstand either. So yeah, you got to keep wireless shit. I don't even use wireless. I do on my tablet, but my rig is hardwired for the internet. What is the likelihood of you being able to carry the Nagra streamer? Let me see, because I thought I had a response. Let's see. Because I was trying, usually those companies want you to carry the whole line. Let's see. Oh, great. Oh, wait, let me see. Okay, so let me see how it ended up here. Okay. I'll try. Okay. So he responded to me a couple times. We've been going back and forth. Now I kind of put it to him like, hey man, let me start selling this shit. So hopefully I am able to, because typically again, you get that brand and they want you to carry, like they were ready to let me carry the whole brand, but it's Nagra is one of those things where it's almost like, how do you even sell other stuff? There's certain brands that have such an ecosystem. I think the other one is Audio Note. Like, how do you even sell anything else, especially with Audio Note? Like, that is your brand, and then you only sell that because it's such a tight ecosystem, and they make everything. Nagra similar. I can't remember if they make speakers or not, but it's definitely an ecosystem. So I don't really want to take on the whole brand, the whole $70,000 DACs and $100,000 preamps and all that kind of stuff. In many ways, I still don't quite grasp the buyer for that, and what the interface is like with the buyer for that. In other words, at that level, I think you're at a point where you are simply selling the buyer something that they want, and I'm used to consulting with the buyers and telling them what I think is the best bang for the buck, not the frivolous, irresponsible spending. And some of these products that are so high priced, and I'm not saying this is wrong, okay? I feel that it's irresponsible spending. So how do I feel right, about like for instance, let's say that I know there's a $60,000 DAC, and I know that the playback designs is absolutely going to sound better for 26. How do I, in my heart of hearts, sell somebody a $65,000 DAC just because they have the money and just because they can afford it? Don't I owe it to them to tell them, hey, I there's another DAC that I think is better. I've heard it, and in my opinion, it's better, and it's a lot less. That is typically my way of selling. And the reason I do that is because it sits right in my heart. So I haven't been able to figure out how I would sell the irresponsible purchases. And again, trust me, there's people that have run out of responsible things to buy, and now they're deeply embedded in buying irresponsible things. But it's hard for me to get in the mindset of suggesting irresponsible purchases for people. So I have yet to figure out how I work that all out in my head. So that's why I have left those to like brick and mortar dealers. Like let them carry that pie in the sky, irresponsible spend type stuff. I think they maybe, I mean, I was talking with some folks the other day that sell to very high end clients, and they were telling me about selling some very expensive gear in UAE, United Arab Emirates, or Dubai, or somewhere like that. And when they go there, they put little booties on to go in the house. They even if they're not, it's not even you take your shoes off and then you put booties on, and then um you don't even talk with the person that's buying. They have a lackey, like a servant that you deal with. You don't even deal with the buyer. You are in many ways. It's hard for me to comprehend selling where there's such a lack of camaraderie with the music lover. I'm in it for the camaraderie and the brotherhood and the cool sharing of music. But if I became a lackey working with a lackey, I'm a servant working with a servant, you know, just so I can make the money, it's not enough drive for me. It's not enough reward for me. Just a stack of cash because I was a little bitch monkey for a while. I know, again, it doesn't make good business sense. I should just be a bitch monkey and take the money, right? But it just doesn't sit well with me. It doesn't jive. It doesn't vibe right. What vibes cooler with me is selling to people that I know, the people I talk to them. We share the music together. They're in contact with me when they put their speakers and they call me. I have a relationship and a friendship, whatever, with the buyer and the music lover. That to me is more fulfilling because there's conversation and I get to feel the response of the person being made totally happy. When they're totally stoked and they talk to me and about how much they love what I've helped do for them, that's how I get my feel goods. So that whole, carrying the uber expensive, irresponsible spend is hard for me to comprehend. And, and I just don't know how to get in the proper headspace. I know what the proper headspace is. The proper headspace is, excuse my language, sell the motherfucker whatever he wants to buy, and don't ask questions, right? But that's just, it's kind of it's a foreign thing for me. It's just it doesn't jive well. So I leave that to other people. And so that cuts out many of the brands that I just don't think have any intrinsic value, you know. I have to tell you, in that vein, in what I'm talking in while we're on that subject, a good segue is to talk about D'Agostino, which are fantastically expensive amplifiers. And what I realized is D'Agostino, in many ways, I guess Boulder would be one, maybe Meitner is another, of who represents the heavy iron left over from yesteryear. And D'Agostino is the continuation of Krell, right? So Krell was the big iron. They were big iron leaders back in the day, and they still are big iron, but now it's no longer Krell, it's D'Agostino. They're really amazing looking amps. I'll have to tell you, I don't think, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, and throw something in here if you know of something. What amp looks more expensive than a D'Agostino? I think D'Agostino has completely pulled off in beautiful fashion. Like, I totally applaud and respect what they've done in terms of how that amplifier looks. That thing looks like a freaking $1,000,000. I mean, it looks beautiful. It looks expensive. It looks luxury. It is like every little ding, ding, ding in terms of a visual representation of what high-end expensive audio would be. Their dial matches a Swiss watch. I won't tell you which one, but if you know watches, all you have to do is look at their little arm and you'll see a very obvious classic hand of a classic brand. And they're beautiful. They're just beautiful pieces of art. Now they're 250,000, maybe more. I think they're 250 grand per pair, but I get it. I understand what it represents. I understand what it's for. It's for people that are done. All their responsible shit is taken care of, man. And now they're deep into creating a portfolio of toys, and all the power to them. But man, if I'm dealing with their servant and I don't even get to talk to them, we don't even get to have a cigar and enjoy music, whatever. And then, okay, so even if I was selling at that level, the product would have to have excellence. It would have to be, if it's a $250,000 amp, it's going to have to be the best amp I've ever heard. And and again, then it becomes subjective, right? So it's a very interesting thing. It's an interesting thing. And then you look inside, and then that gives you a different perspective when you look inside a piece of those gear. And then you can tell how old or new, or how revolutionary, or how regurgitated their circuit designs are. Because you can look into some of those things that are fantastically expensive and you go, oh, geez, this looks just like 1986 Krell or whatever. It doesn't look much different. It's the same damn idea. It's a row of output devices stuck onto a heat sink, screwed on, sending the heat to the heat sink with, a power supply in the middle and a side of rails. And we got a row of NPNs and a row of PNPs, and it's a push-pull design. And, it's like that's been done forever. That's Class A and Class AB, which is very old technology. And you look at these things and you go, wow, okay, well, they've definitely pulled something off because they're fantastically expensive. And there's this that somehow the street cred is there, and they have done it, and in the case of D'Agostino, I don't think it's new revolutionary circuit design. I think they're using the best of their legacy designs, which there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, those Krell amps sounded great back then, and clearly they've been improved over the years. But so it's very interesting to see, and then to contemplate how do some guys do that, and it's clear with D'Agostino, it's a freaking look. That's how they do it. Look at that thing. I mean, any person that is looking for a audiophile statement piece to visually impact the room, I don't think anything does it better than D'Agostino. I think Boulder looks big and ugly and classless. Like it's just a big hunk of archaic, like architectural steel or something like that. D'Agostino looks like a fine Swiss watch. It really pulls it off. Things like what's the German brand? MBL is really cool, but it's sort of blingy. It's like reflective, glossy black or white with a big gold, Mercedes emblem in the middle. Burmester is chrome boxes. So it's just a box that's with chrome. So it's not that different or interesting other than it's chrome. Try and think of something that looks as good as D'Agostino. Let's do that. Let's make that the homework, or not the homework, but the poll of the evening is: what piece of audio gear, solid state now, we're not going to compare tubes because that's unfair. What piece of solid state amplifier looks as expensive and as beautiful? Many people might say it's steampunk, looks like Jules Verne, looks kind of like, but I think over the years they have refined. The earlier D'Agostino stuff looked a little bit more strange to me. And I think the newer, hang on, let me see. Hey, Andy.
Hey, what's going on, Mike?
Not too much, buddy. Do you know you're on the live stream?
I did not know.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Do you want, actually, I haven't patched you in, but do you want to, should I call you after?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll holler after.
Alrighty, buddy.
Okay, see you, man. Yeah, didn't think so. Um, um, yeah. So what solid state amplifier looks as expensive? Let's just put it that way, because I know there's going to be differing opinions on what's pretty and what's not. But what pulls off the look as well as the Agostino? Let's see who's got some ideas. Is FPGA always better than good Sigma Delta design for a DAC? No, it's not. If bad FPGA, then good Sigma Delta would beat bad FPGA. But if they're both the same level of design prowess, then I think FPGA is better in many ways, and better. You didn't even ask if it meant better sound. Okay, FPGA is better because it's future proof. You can keep reflashing the software and you don't get stuck in a old technology, whereas Delta Sigma is you can't update it. You just can't update it. It stays the same. FPGA is a fluid type software based, so it can always be improved by reflashing. I need help. Yeah, I know. Today I do need help. Do you know how much EMF is being emitted before then testing afterwards to see if it made a difference? On the chips, no. All I knew is I could hear it. That's it. We're talking about very small amounts. You have to realize the chips have a certain amount of emission that they can't exceed legally, right? In order to be compliant, ROHS or whatever the thing is. I can't remember what the thing is, but you have to be compliant in order to be able to manufacture a chip. It has a specification of emission, but we can cut it down much greater by putting those little pieces of absorptive material on them, and it makes a difference. And not in all of them. Some of them you put it on there and it sounds worse. You take it off and you're like, oh, it's better without. But then you put it on some and you're like, oh shit, this sounds better. So it's a painstaking process. You have to be really, a glutton for punishment, or just one of those minds that trips out on squirrel food. You should patent that you can sell it to every manufacturer. What I already have a patent on the clamping design, but the little absorptive material is already somebody else's patent, man. Routers are also filthy dirty, especially with Wi-Fi, for sure. Totally. One should keep your phone in the room with the teleportation trick. Yes, right. That's another option. Have you heard Sphinx CD player products? No, I have not. Where are they made? I would suggest irresponsible is relative. I guess, yeah. But I mean, try to try to tell me how. Yeah, I pick up what you're laying down. What Shane's trying to say is irresponsible and responsible. It's only irresponsible if you're spending something that is not in line with your means. Okay, so in other words, a billionaire spending 250,000 on a gear may not be irresponsible. From a financial standpoint. Okay, maybe I should say frivolous. Okay, frivolous spending, where it's just like not even rooted unrealistic spending. You know, so after they've done everything that they need to buy, then they start throwing money around at frivolous shit, completely unneeded, completely, yeah. So maybe there's a different term. Even if they can afford an extra $100,000, it's hard not to believe that they could spend it better elsewhere. Well, if you're a billionaire, you can lose 3 million in a day on something, and you don't even know it. I mean, think about it. If you've got $1,000 in your pocket, if you've got $2,000, if you got $10,000 in your pocket, and you lose $3, do you care about it? No. So keep in mind, somebody that has a 1 billion net worth has 1,000 million. So it's like having $1,000 in their pocket and you lose three. It just doesn't fucking matter. You would not give a shit if you lost $3 if you had $1,000. So for them, buying an audio system for $1 million is $1. So of course, $100,000. Jesus, they'll spend that on a fucking airline ticket. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like, well, they own their own plane, so they wouldn't, but they would like spend, they'd spend 10 grand on a dinner. They'd probably buy $100,000 bottle of wine. They would absolutely buy $100,000 watch. I mean, fuck, I've got a $25,000 watch. So these guys would spend 100 grand on a watch. So, it's hard for us to understand that in any real world. But when you start to actually do the math on what a billionaire is, it's mind boggling. And especially if you start to do the math on what compounding interest is for investments at that level, even 10 million, just do 1 million, do the math of 10% S&P 500 index. You put $1 million into it. You put $10 million, just do the math on $10 million compounded. And it's retarded. It's ridiculous. So that's why the rich people get richer, because when you got that kind of dough to throw into investments, man, it compounds like nuts. So yeah, it's relative. Say no to Nagra. Why do you say that, Keith? I get it, mate, and I agree with you. But some people buy furniture that makes sound. They tend to be the ones who you never see. Furniture that makes sound. Right. Well, I know that they're out there, but what I'm talking about is, do I want to sell to them? Is there any pride in selling to that customer? Are you proud that you reached another human? You don't even get to talk to that human. So you don't know if you improved their life or if they even gave a shit. So that's how I get back. I get back. The money that I make from the gear is not the reward. The reward is the person being totally stoked and happy. The money is like whatever. That's just like grease for the wheels, right? It doesn't mean shit to me. I really need to know it does mean something, right? But after a certain point, it's like, I have to get something out of it. And just to be, and I hate to use the term, but just to be a whore, it's just like you're just getting paid to do something that you have no connection to. It's just a mindless act that you do where you get paid for doing it and you don't even get to connect with another human and do something good for them. It's a different mindset, bro. It's a real straight business, like sales are all that matters type mentality. And the sales that are all that matters, I mean, that's not fun for me. That is just too cut and dried and robotic and just empty. There's no spiritual fulfillment in that. I get spiritual from fulfillment from making others happy. And so I like to keep my business to where I get to interface with the people that I'm making happy. And I don't understand how it would work otherwise. I don't know. So it's just trying to wrap my head around it. What do I think of Martin Martin Dingus? I don't know. Martin's a good speaker. I know Martin speakers are great, man. I haven't. I used to. I remember the Coltrane's. We had some Coltrane's for a little bit when I brought cables. We have the Coltrane 2, I think it was. They're built like yachts. You look at them and you just think yacht. That's what I think when I look at a Martin. Now, I don't know how they are built today, but back in the day, that's what they were like. So, how do they sound? I don't know. I haven't heard them. So I don't really know, but I know typically I like Martin. I think it's a great brand. Some people say overpriced, but compared to what, I think I would like Martin's better than Wilson. I would think, I would like Martin better than, Magico. I would like Martin better than Sonus. I would like Martin better than Focal. I would like Martin better than, Von Schweikert. I would think Von Schweikert's weird. It's the jury's still out for me on that one, but Martin's a good speaker. Nagra, you're buying a Swiss watch. Yes, right, true. But now we can really get into that with this Rolex. It's like my Breguet is a better watch. You know, my JLC is a better watch, but this one's going to cost more. But I don't like it as much. It's like so some of the Swiss things are overpriced and they're not that great inside, you know. So you not all no, I guess what I'm trying to say is not all Swiss watches are created equal. Rolexes are the most popular Swiss watch, but they're not even close to the best in terms of accuracy and being handmade and all that kind of stuff. This is machine made. It's laser cut. It's probably hand assembled, but it's machine made. It's stamped out parts that are inside it. It's an excellent watch, but it is not the handcrafted level of a Jaeger-LeCoultre or a Breguet, a Blancpain. They're just so yeah, so there is we'd have to be a little more specific. We'd have to say which Swiss watch. Nagra, some people, it seems like somebody else here would argue that it's a Rolex, that it's not the best thing, even though it's priced like it's the best thing. Nagra is launching a full line of mini components the size of a streamer and phono. Just do it $5K a piece because it would still carry over. Yeah, he talked about the $5,000 phono pre. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Phono pre? Really? I got to start selling people phonos and phono pre? I'm not going to do that. So I'm not going to sell a phono pre. I guess I would have it in the lineup just so guys with phonos, I could take care of you guys, because you're part of the gang. But, you know, so yeah, I will talk with him about that. I'll say, look, I'm happy to carry any of the small brand pieces. Rev says, you are the first dealer I've ever found who isn't snotty and who truly loves music. Music is life, dude. I really appreciate your passion. Thanks, Mike. You bet, brother. You bet, man. I'm glad to have met you. I like to meet other music lovers, and then we send each other music and stuff like that. And it's not just about the gear, it's about the tunes. And I'm gonna have to end this pretty soon because I've got a trip. I got to be on a plane tomorrow, but I can go for a little longer. It better be a Rolex for that price. No, it's not. It's a Cartier. The reason it's 25K is because it's solid gold. It's almost a pound of gold. It's a heavy son of a bitch. Solid rose gold. And if someone wants a small footprint system, it's got space in your portfolio. Yeah. Okay, cool. That's cool. I wonder how much percent of the cost of a modern amp is the box aesthetics alone. Well, in the case of D'Agostino, probably a decent amount, more than the rest. Because making a square box is not that expensive. Making a D'Agostino is a lot more expensive. And it's got huge, thick plates of copper in there instead of aluminum. At what price point do receivers start tuning themselves? I'm going to ignore that. Can an SS amp really, solid state amp, really reach the quality of tubes on vocal music? Very few of them can, but they can. It's just very few and far between. It's hard. It's much easier to build an amazing sounding tube amp than it is to build an amazing sounding solid state amp. Solid state amp is harder to do. D'Agostino Epic 1600 monoblock amp weighs 570. That's the one. That's the one they talked about. We had one down from that. We had the 800s at the other night. 570 pounds. That's retarded, bro. Vinny Rossi. Yep. Good guy. What was that? Oh, look. Are you talking about the look? That's a tube, though. I heard $1 million system, D'Agostino Wilson audio system once. Great slam and wow factor, but it lacked musicality. Yeah, and it's really hard to this one that I was listening to had the $250,000 DCS Varese DAC. So it was $1 million system. It had $375,000 Wilson Chronosonic XVX. It had the D'Agostino Relentless 800s. It had the so what is that? That's 375. Let me do the math. It's probably more. 375 plus 250 on the amps plus 250 on the DAC. Amps, DAC, speakers plus 375 on the speakers. Did I do that already? 375 on the speakers. Let's go from the front to back, or from the back to the front. 375 plus 250 on amps plus 250. I think it's a little bit more, 265 on the DAC. There was it was a little bit more because there was a streamer. We had like probably 100,000 in the cables, and there was, what else was in there over on that side? I think, yeah, it's $1 million system. So it's $1 million system. And it's hard. You're so blown away kind of by what it sounds like and the scale and everything that it's hard to really just try and imagine what it would be like over time, to see. It's hard for it not to make an impression. You know what I mean? My past Aleph amp looks pretty cool to me. Is it an Aleph 2? Which Aleph is it? Those are sick amps. I love them. If it looks like the Borg Cube, those are just so cool, dude. And they're just kind of old and hot, but totally freaking cool. I actually really, really like those. I always wanted a pair, but I can't bring it upon myself to buy old stuff now. Don't ever sell out. Those people don't listen to their equipment. Yeah, they don't. And then you're just a guy you're just a cog in the wheel. You're just some insignificant servant that's selling them some shit. And so it's like it's like, what would it be like? I don't know if pandering is the proper term, but what do you call it when you brown nose to get paid? When you just suck up and be a servant, to be paid. I can only, do where you're just an insignificant, non-respected, just kind of thing, Yeah. So I don't know. I got to do what makes me feel right. Saw a video with Thomas where he visited Joseph Crow, Jules Verne kind of stuff. Everything made from solid wood. Interesting stuff. Surely museum type pieces, but he says he is into sound. That's cool. Awesome. Macintosh, not for me, man. I'm not a Macintosh guy. Greetings from Des Moines Tribe. What's up, Andy? Oh, there he is, Andy. In from Des Moines. More output power on solid state amp means lower sound quality, delicacy, or not necessarily. No, what typically, if it's a high output power with a low class A bias, then I don't like those kind of amps. They make them for some reason. I like the ones that have lower total output and higher current and a higher class A bias. Those are my favorite types of amps. So yeah, the more, you really don't need more than a couple hundred real watts. Anything more, I get it. You're trying, if you got big speakers that are hard to drive load, you get something like the D'Agostino where it just still, or the Playback Design's a big amp where it just stays in its linear operation range. I was looking at the D'Agostino. I don't think there's much that would compare to those. Really cool. Yeah, they're very pretty. I had a solid state amp I bought in the 70s from some guy's trunk in a parking lot at Kmart that looked really good. Better than oh God, I guess he doesn't like D'Agostino. Aloha, Mikey. What's up, Dan? Aloha. D'Agostino amps are it, but I'd say Assoluta monoblock from Tidal are classy. It looks like a Bentley meet a Steinway and Sons Assoluta monoblock. They use an Italian name for a German speaker. Interesting. Oh yeah, okay, so it's minimalist, brutalism almost. Well, on the top it looks a little different. It's almost in between. The top almost looks Art Deco. Very German looking. Very, very German looking. Oh man, that's not a good. Let me see. Let me go back here. I'm going to try and pull this up so people can see what this looks like. But what it's doing is it's loading people's website and not just loading. Let's see what this, that one, no. Here we go. Let's see. Okay, view file. There we go. Come on. Oh, it's Pinterest, and they gotta have a damn. Let's see. Huh. Okay. Yeah. For those of you, let's see if we can blow this up. I'm trying to blow this up. Okay. Here we go. Absolute. Come on. Okay. There it is. So it's I don't know, man. Let me go back here and let me show you guys. Oops, where am I? Here I am. Okay, let me share this and I'm going to show people. Is that okay? Let's see. Okay. So here we go. Here it is. Very minimalist, very German. It doesn't, this is not complicated manufacture. Like it looks really cool, but this is plate aluminum, plate aluminum in strips. You've got them in a frame that's maybe painted like black gloss frames that you drop. Maybe these are little sticker backed panels that are dropped into a recess. They could be many different things, but we get this sort of paneling look. And then we get almost like a, who does this also? Vetus Audio does this thing where they have two blocks that are screwed in from the back. It looks like there's a frame here. So these could be gloss panels that are just adhesive backed even, that are pressed into this recess. And then like chrome, that looks like chrome right down the middle. So it's not, and then some regular feet, so this is nowhere, to me, nowhere near the Agostino. In terms of how to manufacture it and how expensive it would be and how unique it is. This is just using common materials in an interesting way, but there's nothing uncommon about these materials at all. It's all flat sheet. It's cut sheet is what it is. We've got maybe a little radius on this frame on the edge, but it's not tough manufacture. This is simple manufacture. So when somebody like this tries to be $250,000, and then you look at the D'Agostino, you go, okay, well, I see one where the money goes. On the other one, not so much. And I get it. Tidal is like this big hype, but I don't see much there. It is kind of cool, but again, I don't see much. Now, if we look at this, does this allow me? Are you guys even still seeing this? Can't see if yes. Okay, good. So you can see. This looks kind of cool. Okay, so, again, an interesting knob. Okay. And this is what you run into when you're designing something. Like, how the F do I do something other than a damn box again? Because all these things are as damn boxes. It's very hard to come up with an interesting design. Just sit there. If you want to try and experiment, take a damn pad and try and do something that's never been done before in terms of a piece of stereo equipment. Show me something that makes sense. It's near impossible. It's very hard. So you end up doing things like putting your logo in the front and things like that make it stand out. This knob is like a donut, so that's unique. Okay. That kind of thing. So anyways, go here and I'll go here. Okay. So yeah, so that is yeah, it's interesting, but yeah, to each his own. $200,000 becomes $1 million in 3 years just with interest. Yeah, exactly. Look at that. So, if you got at what percent? Compounding, clearly. Apurna Apogee amplifiers are D'Agostino beauty level. Yes, I mean, let's see, Apurna Apogee Apogee Aperna. Okay. I don't know that I agree. We'll show everybody. Come on, image. Okay. They are interesting. And then let's see. Okay, so Perna apogee, some of the best mono, of course it is. Okay, so let me share this with you guys. And we can look at these. Okay, right here. Okay, so here they are. So to me personally, I don't like carbon fiber on audio. What is it? A fucking F1 race car? Excuse my language. What is it? A racing car? You know, it's not a racing car. Carbone. It's called Carbone and whatever. So they're using carbon. So, you know, I get it. Some people like racy looking things. It looks like a race car. You know, not my jam. Okay, it's got plexiglass top. Okay, so what I see is an interesting. They bent the corners. Okay, they used a um, formed carbon fiber. They've got looks like they've got something. If that lights up, it might light up. It looks like there's a design in either this is etched glass or it's plastic. It's got a bezel around it. It looks like a racing gear. And then it's got plexi on top. Now I don't know if the plexi is for the show or if they send them that way. But plexiglass holds static electricity, so I don't like any sort of plexiglass around my electronics. So it's interesting. We can see it, and yeah, good. I think that's a good comparison, but I still don't think it looks like D'Agostino. I think D'Agostino is more elegant for sure. This looks like racing porthole. It's like I've got an exhaust. It looks like an exhaust tip coming out of a, you know, or like a, you know, like a hood of a car with a, you know, like the velocity stack of the carb coming out of the hood or something like that. It looks like automotive design. This does not look like watch design or elegant. It looks automotive, and it looks high performance automotive. So that's where I get lost. Let's see. And he's got them. They've got them with what are those guys? The Spanish speakers. And yeah, okay. So yep. See, I mean, basic design. It's not showing us the full insides, but it's you know, we've got amplifier channels on each side with the power supply in the middle. So again, so yeah, it's interesting. I've never seen those before. So those are interesting. Let me go back to here. Okay. So that's interesting. Ultra high-end gear sales don't resonate with you. Simple as that. Not your circus, not your monkeys. Exactly. Yeah, that's what I think. I mean, the playback design, you know, $100,000, $200,000 rigs, you know, I mean, it's still premium shit. It's just not $1 million. I just don't think that makes sense. Yeah, I agree. The community I build with my channel is the most important part. It makes all the work I do worthwhile. For sure, the people. D'Agostino was exposed when young to Disney's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and never got over it. Is that the story, Mark? Speaking of millions and billions, 1 million seconds is about 11 days. 1 billion seconds. Oh, look at that. That's a great way to compare it. 1 billion seconds is 31 years. That is fucking crazy, dude. Isn't that nuts? That's how different 1 million is between 1 billion. 1 million seconds is 11 days. 1 billion seconds is 31 years. That's crazy. That is whacked out. What's your opinion on past lab amplifiers? Oh, they're cool. They're made like a brick shithouse. They'll last forever. I haven't listened to the recent ones, so I don't know what they're like, but I mean, I just know I've listened to them before, and I haven't wanted one, you know. It was one of those things where it's like, you know, do you want it when you hear it? And I've never gone in and heard a pass where I'm like, I want it. So I don't know. That's all I know. Does Karen Acoustics build good sounding amps? Have no idea. Which model is the sweet spot? No idea, brother. I'm not looking for subs. Just came across a review of a Magico sub the other day. A sub is no big deal, bro. I mean, get a Wicked driver. All you need is a Wicked driver. And then what's a big deal is the amplifier and the software that you use to tune that thing. How can you tune it and set it and get that? That's the big deal, is the interface, really. I'd love to hear the Devore Fidelity given one own low powered set. I've heard great things about them. Well, then buy them. I know. Wait. Okay. Um, I've got a tribe member right now who has some Devore Fidelities. He bought Fisher and Fisher. He wants to sell his Devores, and he will sell them for a song, brother. I mean, really low price. So contact me if you want me to put you in touch with him. He's in California. Anybody wants some Devore speakers? I can't remember what model they are, but he can tell you. Just machining and metal, probably 5K. On the D'Agostinos, probably. How much worse is Big Rig compared to Fisher and Fisher? They're very close. The Fisher and Fisher system is more concise and not as diffuse. The big one was really wide and big, a little bit diffuse. It's more precise instrument placement in the Fisher rig, and just more precise. I guess that's all I can say. It is for sure better. Anybody who's heard both of them will agree. Sell out. Yeah, I'm not going to sell out. Or shill. Yeah, exactly. Hi, tribe from Houston. What's up, Arun? What up, tribe from Wisco? What up, Dano? Oh yeah, we never talked, brother. Do you want those Egglestons? Anybody wants some Eggleston Osos? I'm selling them stupidly low price, and I'm not going to even say it on the air because it's too low. It's lower than dealer cost. So anybody that wants some Maserati bronze Oso, they're brand freaking new. They'll have a warranty. Eggleston Works. Phenomenal speaker, ridiculous price because I'm not going to sell them. I bought them to see if I was going to sell the brand, and for other reasons, not having to do with that I thought they sounded bad or anything like that, because they sound phenomenal. I mean, they're used for mastering. I'm just not going to carry them, so I'm going to let these go ridiculous price just to get them out of here. I need the room, so call me. Which PCM DAC chip do you like the most? I don't. That is there's no way to answer that, because DAC chip does nothing on its own. Like most, based on what? Based on how it looks, based on the name that it has on it. In other words, what I'm trying to tell you is a PCM DAC chip doesn't mean shit without the supporting circuitry. So you could never say which PCM DAC chip do I like the most. It's a, and please don't be offended, but it is a naive question. It is very naive. It's a very naive question. It doesn't mean shit to know what chip it is. You need to know who designed, what circuit is it in? How is it implemented? What piece of gear is it in? Who was the guy that got a hold of that chip and created the circuit? And then let me listen. There is no way you can think of a chip and then expect to get the same results from that chip from different DACs. That chip could go from sounding like shit to sounding like the best thing you've ever heard, depending on what engineer has it in his hands. So it's an incomplete sentence. There's no way anybody could answer that. If somebody answers that to you, they're not. That's a red flag. That would be. Here's a good test for you. Ask that question to a local dealer or someone at a show or anybody that you think might be know a lot about hi-fi, and if they answer you and they say, "Oh, I like the audio analog 17 whatever," or I like the analog devices yada yada, or what's the other one that 9038. I can't even remember. It was Cirrus Logic 9038 Pro or whatever. If they answer you, which PCM DAC chip do you like the most? And they give you an answer, that's a red flag because it can't be answered. They would have to come back and say, how? Like most for what? For its filters, for its sonic, for its ease of design use, for its low noise, for its, I mean, there's so many, it's an incomplete, there's no way you could answer that. You'd need to ask a question back. You going on a tribe trip? Yes, I'm going to Minneapolis. Looks like it came to assimilate us. Totally, the Borg cube. Subordinate. Sycophant is what you were thinking. Sycophant is what you were thinking, Mikey. Okay, got it. Hey, tribe. Hey, Mikey. What's up, Dan? Are you going to pay me if I do it? I've already lost. What are you doing? Hey, Charles. Hey, man. How are you, buddy? Nature is an infinite source of inspiration. It sure is, especially when you chow the shrooms. Notice how no one talks about the sound of these solid state amps. Checkmate. Yeah, that's a good point. I have I got in a lot of trouble for giving my opinion. What happens is if I give my opinion on how something sounds, people think I'm ragging on it. And I'm like, I'm not ragging on it. I'm just saying I don't freaking like it. It could be everybody loves that thing and I'm the only guy in the world that doesn't like it, but I'm just telling you the truth. I don't like it. But people want to then I get in all sorts of problems and the industry wants to, think I'm bad. Or dealers think I'm trying to put them out of business or something, or whatever. They think I'm because I say something about my feelings or because I don't censor my clients. Like I had a client come the other day. This is a year ago or something, and he listened to the Fishers and he was so impressed with them, and he was trying to tell on a video short tell people what they sounded like, and he used Borison as a comparison because that was the most recent thing that he had heard that that was like a big deal or whatever. And so he used that. He had that fresh in his mind. It was like after a show. And he said, oh, the Fisher and Fishers, totally better bass than the Borisons, blah, 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 whatever. And he said that. And I didn't censor him. I did it in the video and I didn't edit it out. I just let it rip. Like, that's his opinion, man. I'm not going to try and censor the dude. The very next day, one of the dealers for Borison sent me an email. I can't believe you trashed Borison. I was like, what are you, fucking retarded? I didn't trash shit. Somebody gave their opinion. My customer gave his opinion. Not even me. My customer did. What do you want me to do? Censor him? And I said, if you can tell me why I should censor my customer, let me know. And if it makes sense to me, I'll do it. But I just don't know how you're going to make an art. Go for it. He never responded. I made one more response. I said, look, like either, we can talk this out or not, I mean, whatever. And he didn't respond. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So I won't go into this guy held such a grudge that he put up a fake ad for Fisher and Fisher speakers at a greatly reduced rate to try and kill the value of Fisher and Fisher, which is totally funny because all it's done is given me more Fisher and Fisher sales because people try and buy from him and they can't. And then they call me up and they're just through with the bullshit from regular dealers. And they're like, just give me the speakers. And they buy them full price and are totally happy with them. So that was all from one. So if I give my opinion, can you imagine, like, what if I said, I think Borison, whatever, and I gave an opinion, then they're going to really freak out and lose their mind. And it's like, at this point, it doesn't even matter. I don't need to. I just tell you guys what I think is the best. And what I think is best because I carry what I think is best. I go into the marketplace. I find the best shit that I think and the things that go together, and then that's what I sell. So you start talking about the solid state for me because my comments carry a lot of weight. I didn't realize this. I just thought I'm just another jackass with an opinion about how something sounds. But I found out quickly that even my customers saying their opinion, if I don't censor my customers and I let their maybe their negative opinion about a brand go onto my channel, that's how heavy people consider my channel's information. It's like the law or something. It's like they lose they it's heavy. So when I make an opinion on something, it's much stronger and it carries much more weight than I ever thought. I thought it's just my opinion. I'm just another jackass, but they're like, no, you're not just another jackass. You are the guy on YouTube that actually knows what he's talking about, is really passionate. You don't fluff, you don't make up bullshit. You're not just here jerking people off, for lack of a better term. And so I guess my weight, my word carries a lot of weight. And so I don't really talk that much about, I just tell you about the things that I think are great. I'm not going to go into what the things that I think are underperforming and just bullshit, you know. I will in personal conversations. I just won't do it on my live channel. What up, Mikey? Did you get to see the biscuits? I did. We caught the 2 nights in Asheville. Was super fun. Oh yeah, dude. That it's bananas. That whole show is bananas. I wasn't even like, it was crazy. It's crazy. This time we had ear protection. So it was great. To me that looks like a makeup travel case. Which one? I don't know which one. 1 trillion seconds is 32,000 years. Whoa. 1 trillion seconds is 32,000 years. Crazy. Exponential math. It's nutso. Mikey, what up? What up, Will? Nice to see you, buddy. 10,000 days is 27.4 years. That's interesting too. Tool reference. Oh, okay. Huh. Far out. A sub sometime can muddy up a great 2.0 system. Absolutely. Agreed, man. And Fishers really don't need subs. If I won the lottery, I would order a pair of Roland 555s, a Roland Pre, and a pair of Tad Reference Big Boys. There you go. Let's hope you win the lottery. Would you buy them from me? That's the next question. Wes, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, man. Long time no talk to, brother. Holla at a brother. I know you wanted some 670s, bro. I sold the ones that I have, but I got more coming in. So holla at a brother. It's $1 every second for 250,000 years to pay off our deficit. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, that's nutso. Yeah, so we'd have to be making $1 million every second. Would that work? How long would that take? I never thought about circuits that way, but you're absolutely right. You can use the best quality equipment, but the way you arranged it makes it completely different. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's even not equipment. That's called a component part. Okay. So it's like you're trying to describe spaghetti. You're saying, you know, it's like you're saying, you're asking somebody a question about spaghetti sauce and you say, what garlic is your favorite? You know, it's like, it's incomplete. Like, I mean, or something like that, but yeah, they can be, all it is a chip, man. It is incomplete by itself. It is like a heart of something, right? You can't have a human without a whole ton of other shit. It's not just a heart. So just like a DAC is not just a chip, it's all the other associated systems. So you can have a fat human, a slim human, a healthy human, a sick human, all this different shit, and they all have the same heart, right? Maybe some are weaker than others, but it's all about the systems that are around, all the organs and everything. How are they operating as to how does the body operate? Trying to, but yeah. At age 27 in general is considered significant in numerology, representing a period of review and change. 27. Is that when like Hendrix and all those, everybody died? My favorite saying is a good friend and skeptical audio dealer. No one has an ugly baby and everyone's product is the best. Yeah, that's true. But it's everyone says their product is the best, but not everyone's product is the best. And the best is relative, right? So what's the best for me is the best for me. And what you have to do is say, I want what Mikey thinks is best for him, right? That's the way you have to think about dealers. Any of us. I want what Jay thinks is the best for him. But I mean, we don't even know. I want to know what, I want to own what whatever dealer is, think is the best for him. Um, and that's how you go on it. So you have to get it's like hiring a doctor or a professional. It's like, do I want to learn all about Corvettes, or do I want to talk to a Corvette, expert and say which Corvette is best for you, and then why, and then how much is it, or you'd say to him, what Corvette is best for 50 grand? And the guy would tell you. So if you come to me and you said, what's best for 50 grand? I'll tell you, what I think is best. And you have to either, buy into what I'm saying or not. You either become a client and trust my expertise, or you don't, and you do it all on your own. My favorite saying by a good friend and skeptical. Oh yeah, we already saw that. The DAC in my topping E70 Velvet SMSU S9 musical fidelity integrated and RCAM SA20 all sound different. And the DACs inside my JBL all sound pretty different. Yeah, and they can sound different even if there's the same exact DAC chip. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, 4329Ps I meant. Okay, so yeah, and especially if they're the same. Anybody that knows guitars, it's the same thing, man. You can have Tony Rice, Santa Cruz, whatever, and you can have the same exact freaking guitar, and it's going to sound different between productions, So if you get the same model, the same guitar, the same manufacturer, they're going to sound different. It doesn't happen that way with hi-fi, like, the same manufacturer, they're going to sound the same. But if you have different manufacturers with the same chip, it's going to sound different. Indiana Pacers lost. Yes. Can't relate. We don't bow down to corporate. Yeah, right. Let's meet up in lacrosse. Oh, is that what you want to say? Meet up, dude. I've got a slammed schedule. I'm only there for I travel on 2 of the days, Monday and Friday, and I have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday as my 3 available open days. And I'm going to be seeing people in Minneapolis, brother. I'd love to come if I had more time. We don't have enough time this time. If we would have stayed for 10 days, and then I could have gone to Scotty and seen some people, because we definitely have a contingent in Wisconsin. Things that affect people's ego are deeply rooted in their psyche. Yeah, tell me about it, brother. I don't think there's another dealer like you out there. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, that's what people tell me. I just, so why not lead the tribe then in that case? But yeah, I mean, at some point you gotta follow what feels right, and follow your heart. Hello from Jay, Oklahoma. I've never even heard of Jay, Oklahoma. It's cool. Where is it? CPUs are kind of like that, with a motherboard that you attach it to and everything else that goes with it. Absolutely, right? You can have a CPU and plug it into that socket in many different motherboards, and it's going to do different things. I think these chip-based DACs have flaws. Picking so much into one chip has compromises. Packing so much into one chip has compromise. The early low-bit DACs sound good to me, discrete. Yeah, I mean, they do, and some people are better at fixing those flaws. Another question is quality control. Totally. Because digital products like that very widely in their production quality. Yeah, and if you get stuff from China, what China will do is if they run out of a certain part, they'll substitute a different part. And you could have the same model, same brand, same everything, and you look inside at the boards and they could have different parts on them. I used to see that drive me fucking crazy. Like, oh, they just decided to change the caps on this one, and not tell anybody. They totally do that. They don't give a shit. Yeah, 27 Club, Morrison, Hendrix. Okay, then that was the 27. Okay. What watch are we wearing tonight? I just took it off. It is the Rolex Wimbledon dial date just. And you can see I have the wrong date on there. I didn't adjust the date today, but it's a pretty dial, man. And I like it. Although I think I'm going to sell it because it's not that visible in the dark. I'm a weirdo, man. I like strong legibility on my watches. This one to me does not have strong legibility. If you look up close or you get it in the sun, it's beautiful. That's a beautiful mellow dial. It's toned down. It has the Oyster Perpetual band and a bracelet and the smooth bezel. So I like it because it's a toned down. I don't like the real blingy Rolexes. But I don't wear this thing. I don't even, it's a beautiful piece, but I just don't even really like it that much. So I'm going to get an Explorer 1. I like Explorer 1, man. That's just a cool piece. That one's totally legible. It's cool. Something about Explorer 1 I like. Maybe I'll keep this anyway, just to keep it because it's pretty, but I don't know, man. Maybe I'll sell it. Maybe I'll trade it. Nice, very nice. High five. Okay, well, I'm gonna go, guys. It's 1 hour and 46 minutes. I'm gonna be on the road on Wednesday, so I'll try and do a live stream from my phone if I can. Otherwise I will catch up with you guys. I will report and give you some shorts from Minneapolis, and I'll be up on, probably take some time to maybe do some canoeing. I would like to do that, get out on the lake. But anyways, thanks everybody for joining. I will see you on Wednesday, every Sunday, 9 o'clock. Come here, go to 11 Stereo. That is my website. That is where you can get consultation. And I will sell hi-fi gear for you, 11stereo.com. Please subscribe to the channel. Give a thumbs up as a way to support this content. And I will see you all on the flip side. Thanks for joining. See you.